because it helps with anxiety. And you can think of how, people like to twirl their hair or chew in a pen.
Bite their nails.
Bite their nails,
Yeah.
same thing,
Yeah.
except 1,000 times more.
Yeah.
So actually, one thing I think would be like families would be very impressed is because many individuals on the spectrum have like an oral need, an oral thing. And if you had, how sometimes you have like keychains and stuff like that. If you had a Chewy, I don't know.
And I don't know if you. Some of them are like rubber tubes, or some of them
Yeah.
are like your keychains. The
you can-
twirly rubber on the keychains. Yeah, if you were to go to a store that sells Chewies to kids,
Yeah.
you're gonna see there anything that you probably get your hands
So
on.
you could like, I don't know if you guys could provide one and have it, say Aquarium of the Bay,
Yeah.
and what we do is, we all often have it on a clip
Yeah.
sort of thing, and they're chewing it all the time, and it calms them a lot. That's a really big
If
thing.
you have one a nice souvenir that's gonna
Yeah, like a souvenir
Yeah.
thing.
or maybe some of your workers will just have one and be chewing on it.
Yeah.
People know, yeah.
Or you could just have it even hang off you, or or make it as a keychain too.
Or you have a
It's
sensory
just
bin.
a rubber thing.
Maybe you want a sensory bin
Yeah.
of things.
Oh
Right.
yeah, that
Yeah.
would be good. Of like little rubber toys
Well,
and things like
Or,
that.
even in the aquarium, you might even have something where the kids could just touch something, like
Squeeze.
a little Nemo
Yeah.
that they could squeeze on.
Yeah,
Or,
it says Aquarium of the Bay.
I know that you'll have your store, but you might even have maybe some of your toys that are out of stock, but you just want to, and you don't want to throw them away, but they could be something the kids could play with. A little play area that they can feel, or maybe you have one in a store, and if the kid liked it so much, the parent might want to go and buy it and bring it home for them. That'll help at least your sales, But along those lines of what families are probably looking for is, what is my kid gonna like here? And so if you want to address the sensory issues, maybe you have a little sensory bin that they can play with.
So this is what some of the Chewies look like. They can look at like all sorts of different shapes and everything. And they have different densities,
Yeah, my daughter
and
doesn't
so
use her
they
Chewies anymore, and it's not because she's a teenager or anything. It's just that
Yeah,
I think she finds her hands a lot more
Oh, she
convenient.
does.
Yeah, so her knuckles are kind of.
Lucian used to be like that.
Yeah.
He moved to Chewy then.
Oh, I
But,
keep trying
yeah.
to shove them back in her mouth.
Yeah. So, and they actually in the past there used to be some controversy with using Chewies.
Yeah, I
there's
have.
several different ones.
Yeah,
So
a ton
like
of those.
SLPs who focus on oral motor issues,
Those are
they
speech therapists.
speech therapists. Sorry, less speech language pathologists. Way back before they would say, okay, no, let's try to reduce that and minimize that and have them fade away from using this sort of thing. But now, more recently, they're saying, you know what, they need it.
Yeah.
They need it to
Yeah.
regulate themselves. So,
Yeah.
let's give it to them. So, yeah, as we find out more and more about autism and the research,
There's
the
always
progresses,
something.
yeah,
Always something new coming around the bend.
yeah, especially
Or always something old that's being recognized.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, maybe
yeah.
that did actually work.
As Tracy was saying, here's speech therapists trying to wean our children away from their Chewies, and in actuality, it was a maintenance thing. It helped our kids regulate.
yeah.
And you just need to give them a Chewy that's going to be acceptable in our society. So you give them one that looks like a keychain, and they chew it all the time, and maybe that's calming. But
Yeah.
speech therapists then probably didn't realize that they were doing their kids a disservice by taking
Yeah.
away something that was helping them.
Yeah, because doing something like that, like, when people chew gum,
Yeah.
that's the same sort of effect, right? It helps them calm, helps them focus and attend. And, one thing I wanted to mention earlier is autism is often associated with other comorbidities, other disorders or issues. Like Lucian, he has autism, but also ADHD, and also generalized anxiety disorder. Okay, other people also have seizure disorders. There's another
Seizure
one.
is kind of common with kids with
common.
autism.
Yeah.
For some reason.
And-
we don't know why.
Yeah, and I hear actually sometime often after puberty is when it kind of starts to come or something like that,
Yeah.
or when they get older. Other things like that. So it's not just autism, and autism itself is so broad, but to make it even more complex, there's other comorbidities that you have to deal with.
Did the speech therapist actually have a reasoning why they wanted to wean the individuals from their Chewies?
I think some speech therapists do that because they want the kids. They think it's in the way, or
Okay.
they want the kids to kind of look more like the other typical kids,
Yeah.
and not recognizing the fact that there is a sensory need, and it's not a speech need, it's for the child's own well-being. And I think it'll depend on each speech therapist. Some speech therapists are more understanding of it, whereas others are more rigid in their thinking, and they want to kind of promote as an individual, no, let's wean your kid from them so that they can talk. That stuff is interfering with their speech, and not realizing it's more for the child's
Regulation.
well-being and regulation.
Right, yeah. So, you know, it's still very highly controversial today in that with the whole sensory processing disorder and issue. So sensory processing under the DSM, you know, the diagnostic manual of how you diagnose autism, is as a part of autism, and you can't mostly officially get a separate diagnosis for sensory processing disorder, and we're all trying to, because it's a very real thing, and it can stand alone in itself. Sensory processing, you can have someone with just pure sensory processing disorder and nothing else, and you can have it as
And then properly
exist as
address those
something else.
needs.
Right.
Yeah, and so and just even within that field itself of sensory processing, there's still a lack of information out there in research, and also information on how to manage and deal with it. And this area falls under occupational therapy, who deals with this realm. But even still, there's not a lot of occupational therapists who are well versed in this area and know how to treat it. So it's an area where it's still growing and developing. Yeah.
And that will be ongoing. Yeah.
And I know that you guys mostly speak because of your experiences with your kids, but how does it change when you're talking about adults with autism who are coming to the aquarium? They usually, I mean,
Are you
high
mean independently?
either,
High functioning?
yeah, high functioning, or even with if there's adults, but they're coming in with
Support.
whoever is their support.
Mhm.
If there's a difference between when they're the transformation from going from kids to teens to finally to adults.
Oh, I would think so. I mean, what I've noticed, and in talking, I kind of interviewed families with kids who are adults with children with a disability, and especially those with autism, only because I wanted to gauge expectation a little bit for my daughter. Understanding that everyone's different, but I can gather some general information.
Yeah.
And what I do understand is that, especially as they approach their 20s, there's a lot more calming in their
Demeanor.
exactly. And my daughter's not there yet because she's still a teenager, but I'm hoping that will come about. But and I've seen it in my own sister, who was actually pretty ADHD, I think, when she was younger. She a lot more calmer and a lot more focused and listening. So, and you'll probably see a lot of those who are pretty high functioning, who are also very highly intelligent, and they might want to share their knowledge, and they might be chatty and very talkative, and maybe off-putting to some people, because I know some of these kids can keep talking, and they want to share what they know because it's conversation for them and it's an icebreaker for them.
It's their way of connecting.